Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It is February 20th, 2026, and you are listening to episode 225 of Midnight Film Society. Your host, Damian Sherman. Joining me today, as always, is...
Derick McDuff.
On today's show, movies about people trapped, some on an island, some on a submarine, and some in the past. We'll be talking to Sam Raimi's Send Help, Mark Fishback's Iron Lung, and Gore Verbinski's Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die. But before that, we'll go over some movie and TV news, discuss more of what we've been watching, and finish up with our Letterboxd assignments. Right to the show, Midnight Film Society, gmail.com, at Midnight Film on Instagram, Blue Sky, Letterboxd. Subscribe on Pocket Cast, YouTube Podcast, Spotify. Rate and review it on Apple Podcasts. Tell a friend, family member, or stranger. What's up, dude? How we doing?
I'm doing okay, tired and, dealing with some interesting Southern California weather here, but I'm good.
Yeah, we have just still going with the winter over here. It is still winter. It's above subarctic temperatures, which is good. It's doesn't sound like much, but being 35 to 40 feels a hell of a lot better than 0 to 2 or in minus 5 to 10 with the wind chill. That was really, really tough to deal with for a while. So yeah, it doesn't sound like much, but 30-degree difference does make a difference, actually.
No, yeah, that sounds like it would be a lot. It's funny because over here it's just like there's not the we're getting the since it's warmer, we're getting that same stuff, but it's raining. And since I went from being a slight drizzle driving home from work, and 10 minutes later it was like I could not even really see out of my windshield because of the torrential downpour had just come down so much.
Yeah. How are you guys doing with your drainage? Is that like a thing that's like,
oh, it's bad. It's very bad. Yeah. Whenever this happens, we start flooding over here because we do not have the infrastructure for this kind of weather.
Yeah. Where specifically where I live, we live in a pretty high altitude area compared to other parts of the city and the state. So that helps a little bit of the drainage because it kind of just... You use gravity in that sense, but when right now we have so much snow, and what happens with a lot of snow is doesn't just melt and go away, because obviously nowadays you will use a lot of sand and salt to combat the snow when it's there, but when it's gone, you are left with just a sludge, a mixture of sludge that is just dirt and gravel and asphalt and all of that stuff just kind of left there. So you're either driving through it or you're walking through it, or it's clogging up the drainways after it melts. So it's just a rough time overall.
Yeah, it sounds not ideal.
No, it's not great. So definitely, I really wanted to get out to see some movies today. Before we record it, but that's the other thing, is just it just drains you. It just really does physically wear you down, because I've been without a car most of my life, so I will walk most places, and went to do laundry this morning. It's like, all right, it's nice, pretty decent out. I'll walk down, walk back, and chill and see a movie later. And I just got home. I was like, blah, blah. I just want to stay home. So I do not want to go out again, even though my movie theater is like a quarter mile away from where I live. I couldn't even muster up the energy to do that. So yeah.
Well, that's fair. Can't blame you.
Yeah. All right. So with all that, let's get to some more depressing news. Some prominent deaths this week. First off, we have Robert Duvall, Godfather actor, passed away this week at the age of 95. So that's an age that people probably should. That's the age you get at, and that just kind of happens. So, Derick, The Godfather is probably the one that people most notable him from. But is there anything you say the name Robert Duvall? What role, what movie comes into your mind?
I mean, for me, it's definitely Apocalypse Now. I love the smell of napalm in the morning is such an iconic line.
Yeah.
So I think even though he's such a small part of that movie, he's maybe the most memorable part of it, Yeah,
absolutely. He's part of this, he's part of the sort of the new Hollywood generation, but he was older, I think, even back then. So he was sort of this veteran guy already then. One of those guys that looked like a normal dude. I think we're lacking in normal looking guys these days, and have been for a long time. Bald headed, kind of rough looking guy. I don't think he ever really had a a leading actor role ever. I guess maybe you could make your argument he was important in Godfather, but I can't really think of any movies he's in where you could say
it's kind of a two-hander with secondhand lines, but that's not a super popular movie. Him and Michael Caine.
Yeah. Trying to look through his filmography right now. Don't really see much in there, but yeah, he's let's see, notable roles: the outlaw gang leader who gets ambushed by John Wayne in the True Grit, the original True Grit. He's the hatchet man in Network. He is, many different things. One of those guys, I kind of didn't really seek out a lot of the stuff he was in, but every time I watched something where he did pop up, I was like, oh, he was one of those guys that made whatever he was in like 10% better, right?
Yeah, no, he's great, and yeah, I think Network is another really defined. Like, he's arguably the main character in Network, I would say. I mean, maybe William Holden, but yeah, I mean, and Peter Finch is kind of a secondary, but yeah, no, he's a really fantastic actor. So yeah, definitely a big loss for movies because he was so iconic.
Yeah. I saw a clip today of him in Invasion of the Body Snatchers. He has an uncredited role in that. Oh. But apparently the person that posted it made the claim, I don't know if this is true, that was supposed to be a tip off that he was like the first pod person in that movie. I haven't seen that movie in a very long time, so I don't know if that's true or not, but interesting theory if it was true or not. Just so many things. Apocalypse Now, obviously, Godfather, Network, In the Road. He was the old man in The Road. He had a bit in Thank You for Smoking. So many things. Major Frank Burns in MASH. Let's see, Deep Impact, I think I saw him in. Yeah. Many things. Just like you go through his, looking at his Letterboxd right now, I was like, Jesus, he was in so many things. I don't know.
Yeah, he's when you get to be 95 and you're that good of an actor, you're going to be in a lot of stuff.
You're going to be a lot of stuff, yeah. So rest in peace, Robert Duvall. And next up we have James Van Der Beek, one of the big millennial actors of our age. I know you're a little bit younger than me, so I don't know if you were a Dawson's Creek guy back in the day.
Yeah, I mean, that was, like, so it's almost like, the show for like the cuspers, like, 'cause it was about Gen X guys, but I know a lot of older millennials watched it, but it was a little before my time. But I love Dawson, and I love he kind of like he played on that, Dawson thing, like, especially later on, he kind of, he became known for being a meme at one point, like just a gif of him crying as Dawson. So he recreated that, and also he's like, well, there's other emotions that you feel besides sadness, and he did like a whole thing where he made all the different gifs of him experiencing all these emotions. And then I always think of him and playing himself in Don't Trust the Bee in Apartment 23.
Yeah,
he's so fantastic in that. So yeah, he was only 48, so really really sad.
Really tough loss. Yeah, you and we did your. Was it Underrated? Episode of Underrated we did for Rules of Attraction? Yeah, we watched that.
First time you were on Underrated, I think.
Yes, it was. One of my favorite, underseen movies from back then. Obviously from Varsity Blues. The thing with Dawson's Creek is like that whole WB era. Like, it had so many shows, and then the thing that has been popping up on my TikTok and Instagram reels for a long time are those interstitials that WB would do every once in a while at the beginning of like every new season. Every around August, September, you get these commercials like WB, the place for kids, the place for young adults coming back again. This show's coming back for a second season. Gilmore Girls, Dawson's Creek, Buffy the Vampire Slayer coming back for its fourth season. It's all those little those promos they would do. They're just like, oof, just hit you right in the nostalgias right there with all that stuff. So I
remember all those. I watched a lot of Smallville back in the day. So
Smallville, yep. There were so many like ones I didn't even watch because there was actually a lot of them, like Roswell. There was Roswell, then there was like two of them that were about a weird alien. Oh, Kyle XY was the other one that was like.
Oh man, that was ABC Family for sure. I remember Kyle XY.
Yeah. What else was there? There was a lot. There was Buffy, Dawson's Creek, Gilmore Girls. Then there was the ones they would introduce later on that I think like nobody watched, like something Wood, something.
Torchwood.
Torchwood, maybe. I forget what it was called, but yeah, just like so many. They were like, "Oh, this." I remember watching this show on Sunday, and like when that was over, I was like, "Oh shit, time for bed." What was it?
Uh,
7-Eleven. What's the
Seventh Heaven?
Seventh Heaven? Seventh Heaven was the one that was like Sunday nights or Monday nights or whatever. I know Dawson's Creek was always Tuesdays. I think Buffy was Mondays or Wednesdays, one of those. Yeah, yeah. Good times, good times.
With the whole, if you're interested in lineups of TV shows from
Yeah.
25 years ago,
Yeah.
hit up Damian.
We got you covered. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, with that, let's get to what I've been watching. I watched a fuck ton of stuff again. I am, I think I might be two behind on my one a day challenge for 2026. But I'm, I watched a shit ton this week as well. So you've seen almost as much as I have. So we can probably do a little bit of back and forth. Let me kick us off. I saw Maniac from 1980, directed by William Lustig. The synopsis is: a psychotic man troubled by his childhood abuse kills and mutilates young women and local models in the streets of New York City. If anybody's seen,
Somebody was just telling me about this at work. Somebody was looking for like the because we had a sale on like Kino Lorber DVDs, and some old head some unk was telling me all about this movie.
Okay, all right. Tom Savini did the stunts apparently, but not the makeup. That's interesting. He was actually in a scene in this. It's just down and dirty, gritty. Trying to think of the guy's name that did all those. Oh, Abel Ferrara. It's very similar to like Abel Ferrara, the Driller Killer, just, probably made for $100,000, but had decent effects. Like a mix between Psycho and Taxi Driver is what this movie is essentially like. So if you like those two things, you should definitely check out Maniac. I know they have like a bunch of spin-offs, obviously any slasher from the 80s that made any amount of money probably got 2 or 3 sequels, but I remember this one specifically has I think 2 or 3 sequels to it, but it also had a spin-off called Maniac Cop, and Maniac Cop also had its sequel. So big jump off for a major horror franchise in Maniac.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, somebody compared. He was just like, it's like Jack the Ripper, but
yes.
Okay, yeah. So
you can check.
Yeah, it sounds interesting.
Yeah, you can check it out on Criterion Channel right now. Let's hop over.
I like how you put the where they're streaming, so you don't just go. It's probably on Canopy.
It could be. It could be somewhere in there. Yeah. Professional. We'll get more incrementally more professional is what I can promise you these days from Midnight Film Society. Yep.
Like a toad boiling in water.
Eventually,
little by little.
Yeah, eventually we'll get all the way there. All right, let's switch over to you. You watched the 2026 Winter Olympics kicked off this week. Do you have any specific events that you are most looking forward to?
Yeah. I watched. So I did actually watch the opening ceremony. So this is the back half of the second week. So I watched actually the opening ceremony in a movie theater, and I've actually watched a few because this is part of the reason I'm including it here is I've been watching these in movie theaters because you can go to AMC and watch like the coverage in the mornings, and I think the one that I am the most excited for is the hockey. They're doing the men's tournament now. That's always the last thing of the Olympics is the men's final. So hoping the USA can get there. It's going to be the groups. It's the group stage right now. But other events that I've been watching that I've been into is short track. Short track speed skating is really cool. I've also been really into snowboard cross. But I mean, anything is cool. I'll watch anything. I don't care if it's curling. And if I'm down for it. I'm watching it all, man.
Nice, very cool. What was I going to say? The Winter Olympics, I've never realized this, but they are like, as opposed to the Summer Olympics, the winter ones are like, let's just put humans on the most dangerous things we can put them on, like just see who can survive, the bobsled and the skeleton and, the biathlon, the triathlon is like, you're going to ski.
We're just going to shoot somebody off of a thing going as fast. Like I was watching the ski the the freestyle skiing where you just go a million miles an hour, go off this ramp, and then flip around the air 18 times.
Yeah.
And I was like watching, I was like, how does a human body even move like this? Like if you showed this to somebody, this is the 25th Olympics, Winter Olympics. If you showed that to somebody who's doing the first Winter Olympics, I think their head might explode because they'd be like, how is this possible? And I watched this thing that I was like, I would never be able to do in 1,000 years, like never even dream of. And it's like, oh, he wasn't able to grab his ski there. He's gonna lose some major points for that. I'm like, what? He just turned into a helicopter in midair. It's like, no, not good enough. I'm like, wild, you know.
It is, and the snowboarding ones, like I think you talked about the downhill snowboard event, but the half pipe one is always incredible.
Yeah.
I've been a fan of the watching it in real life, but also playing the games. 1080 snowboard game was amazing back in the day. SSX obviously, and now they're doing those things in real life that we did back in the day.
I'm just like,
Jesus.
this is a video game. I'm watching these people do these flips. I was like, this is just some SSX tricky shit right here happening in front of my eyes.
It really is. It's really incredible. Yeah. So you mentioned the hockey segment of it. Do you know if USA is like competitive in it this year, or how are they doing that?
Oh yeah, US and Canada always dominate. US won all of their games, so they're getting a bye in the tournament. But the thing is, they're on the same side as Canada, so we will have to play Canada in the semifinals because we're on the same side of the bracket. So that's going to be tough because Canada is, it's usually US and Canada in the final, but because of just the way that it worked out, both teams ending up on the same side of the draw, even though we both won out. It's gonna be interesting to see if we can get past them and go for the gold, or if we're gonna have to settle for playing for the bronze. So we'll see how it goes, but we are doing very well so far.
Nice. And last thing, I want to mention the thing I have been keeping tabs on as much as I can about the Winter Olympics is like there's massive curling controversy where Canada, speaking of Canada, has been booping it, whatever that thing is called. Fingering.
Yes.
Yeah, they're doing a bunch of fingering.
Yes.
What's the name of the thing they use in curling?
The rock.
No, the rock. Is that what it's called? Okay. Cannot finger the rock.
It is called
Did
the
not
rock.
know that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Too much booping, too much fingering.
I know all
going
the
on?
curling terms. I've been watching the shit out of curling. I know the strategies. I'm like, ooh, man. It's like they left it open, man. They're gonna have to they're gonna be able to throw the rock on the button. They're gonna steal 3 points here. It's crazy.
Jeez. All right. So that's going on for what, another week or so?
The last day is Sunday is the closing ceremony.
All right.
And I think the hockey finale. So early Sunday for us here in the States.
All right. Can still check it out for another week or so after this comes out. All right, so back to me. Been on a horror kick, not just with Maniac. I also checked out the third Hellraiser movie because this is a series that I've watched. I think the first two a couple times because there actually are some of the best. The first two Hellraiser movies are some of the best, like body horror stuff, and just some of the best horror in general. I never really went past the second one ever because I always heard they were pretty bad. I checked out the remake from 2022, which was not great. So I checked out Hellraiser 3, Hell on Earth from 1992, directed by Anthony Hickox, who actually checked out his filmography, and he's got some weird shit in here. He's got Waxwork.
Wait, a guy who directed Hellraiser has some weird shit?
Like really, like not just weird movies in themselves, but just, very just over... just a massive variety of stuff because he did the Steven Seagal movie. He did a movie called Jill the Ripper. He did so he's got a franchise in here called Waxwork, which I'm not sure what the hell is even about. What it stars? Is it not that guy? Okay, it was a little person, but it wasn't the guy I was trying to think of from the that did so many things that I cannot think of right now. I can't think of his name, but anyways, he did that movie. But the one I want to bring up is a movie called from 1997 with Stephen Moyer from True Blood, who was the main vampire in that show, but also Katherine Heigl, Stephen Moyer and Katherine Heigl in 1997's Prince of Valiant. It also has Udo Kier, Edward Fox, Ron Perlman. Oh, Warwick Davis. Okay, that was the guy I was trying to think of. The little person that's in many, many things.
Star Wars.
Star Wars, yeah. Just a weird. I was like, they made a movie about that stupid comic strip that I always read through, and I was like, what is this? But anyways, yeah, Hellraiser 3, Hell on Earth. So I'll catch you up real quick. Hellraiser 2 ends with Pinhead getting cemented in this block of cement, basically, and he's stuck there. And some art buyer buys it and puts it in his, penthouse suite that's attached to his club that he owns. And so, of course, he's into some weird kinky sex stuff, and so he bleeds on it, and of course, the blood, activates Pinhead just enough so that he can, pull his chains out and suck people in and take their blood and try to come back to life. And so that happens, and it's interesting to watch.
So that happens.
So that
the
happens.
blood gets on the concrete and then awakens a sex demon.
Yeah,
that
as
happens.
it goes. As
you go. That's the way these things go.
You're caught up on this series. You should know.
Yeah, totally. I've seen at least 1 second of these movies.
Yeah. What was I going to say? So it's interesting that like the part 3 of so many horror franchises, this one, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, after the second one, they always go in this campy route, this weird, unserious campy route. And it's always, you look back in the third, Friday the 13th, the third, not Halloween, because that was a totally different thing in and of itself. But if you go back and look at a lot of the part 3s of horror movies, it always goes in this, like I said, very unserious route. And as does this one. You have, this is early 90s, so of course, Pinhead and this movie has to incorporate CDs in some way. So of course he kills somebody with CDs, and that person becomes a Cenobite and shoots CDs at people. And that's the other thing that this reminded me of, like Friday the 13th Part 8 is called Jason Takes Manhattan. And I'll just spoil that movie for you real quick. There is very little Manhattan in that movie.
Yeah, it should be called Jason Takes a Boat.
He does. That's true. It's true. And this one is called Hell on Earth, and there's very little Earth in this movie. It's literally just him after he comes back to life. He walks down the street. He gets an interaction with some cops, disposes of them very quickly and other people very quickly. And then it just literally ends with the main character, configuring the box. It's called the lament configuration. So she, does the thing super quick, and then he just disappears, and then you kind of never hear from him again until the next one. So yeah, that was way too much to talk about a terrible movie called Hellraiser 3, Hell on Earth, that is streaming right now on Hoopla. So yeah. Did not mean to go that long on that movie.
That one.
Yeah. Let's talk about a horror movie that I think I've heard very good things about. This is Sam Raimi's, second movie after Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, which was, thinking back on it, was pretty good. Pretty good entry in the MCU.
Yeah.
Derick, what did you think of Send Help?
Send Help was fun. It was just an old school thriller movie. Rachel McAdams given a great performance. So is Dylan O'Brien, and it doesn't reinvent the wheel. But if you want to just see some Sam Raimi schlock, you can't really go wrong with it. It's a lot of fun, and every once in a while it just remembers like, hey, this is Sam Raimi, and it does some like real Sam Raimi shit. I'm a big fan of his. He seems like somebody who has really remembered his roots as like, this kind of grungy horror filmmaker, and is just like, yeah, I want to make weird, don't like stuff like this. And, it's a great two-hander, mostly these two characters in this. And I will say, all the Sam Raimi movies have great cameos from Bruce Campbell. This was one of my favorites.
Nice, yeah. I really wanted to see this, especially in the theater. Like you said, a lot of it becomes, a Sam Raimi movie at a certain point. So let me ask you: is there like canted camera angles and quick cuts and quick zooms, quick pan zooms, and stuff like that?
none of this like that like old school stuff, but every once in a
Okay.
while it'll be like, here's a spooky thing, here's like a ghost, here's like hand, like like it'll
Yeah.
be like it's even on like there's no ghost on this island, but it's like, but I'm Sam Raimi, I'm gonna put a ghost in the shot. You're like,
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
so it's just like, it's spooky Survivor, it's
Yeah.
basically like Castaway, but like what if I don't know how to describe it, like Castaway, but meeting, just kind of just like this psychological. It's like Castaway meets Misery. That's the way to describe this
Mm-hmm.
movie.
Yes. Like I said, I haven't seen the movie, but I've been watching like at least 3 hours of interviews with Rachel McAdams and Dylan O'Brien. They are just having the time of their lives on this press tour. Dylan
Yeah.
O'Brien is so goofy, and Rachel McAdams, people are always heaping praise on her for last 20 years of incredible films. Like, she is just so consistent in all the films she's made over the years, and people are always heaping praise on her for that. I think Dylan O'Brien especially talked about his love for Mean Girls and Game Night, and one of the best line readings of all time is Game Night when she's confronted by the guy at the airplane, and the airplane turns on and he gets sucked into the wind turbine. She's like, "Oh no, he died."
Very nice. I still need
Yeah.
to see Game Night.
Oh man, you definitely, yes, absolutely need to check that out. What else was I going to say? Yeah. Oh, Raimi liked her from Doctor Strange. He knew
Multiverse of Madness. Yeah.
yeah, Multiverse of Madness. He knew that she would be game for a lot of this stuff in this movie, I'm assuming, because when they were making Multiverse of Madness, he was telling her, okay, so there's this ghost, and he's going to be on top of you, and you just got to kick him off, then you do your turnaround, there's going to be another thing behind you. And he was like, oh, yeah, I'm not sure if she's really going to get what I'm trying to say. And she's like, but he said no. She actually turned around and said, okay, now how weighty is the ghost? Like, how much force do I need to push? Yeah.
Because he's like, yeah, like I've got like, he's just inherited that cast, because he didn't direct the first one, but yeah,
Yeah.
he really clicked with Rachel. Like she was like really fits into, I think, the vibe that Raimi gives, and like right away when he's like, yeah, ghosts are attacking you, she's like, okay, cool, get one of those like weird Sam Raimi close-ups and I'll like go for it. And yeah, just a lot of people covered in goop in this movie, like if it wasn't for my next entry being so like breaking the record for most like movie blood ever, I would be like, this one's there's a lot of that old school Sam Raimi just kind of gore in this.
Nice. Yeah, I'm just looking forward to for that reason. All right, let's go back to me. I'm still on my horror kick, but also I'm just, again, trying to go through certain filmmakers' filmographies that I've almost completed. One of them being John Carpenter. I've seen a lot of his films. I think the only ones I have left are Assault on Precinct 13, Starman, Vampires, Dark Star, and Ghost of Mars. Also, if I wanted to get to the really gnarly ones, Memoirs of an Invisible Man, The Ward, and Body Bags. So a few left to go. But the one I did check out this week was Christine from 1983, starring Keith Gordon, John Stockwell, and Alexandra Paul. This is obviously an adaptation of this Stephen King novel. I never did read Christine. This is a cromulent adaptation of that book. If people aren't familiar with this movie, it's about a 1958 Plymouth Fury that becomes alive. It is an alive car. There's no explanation of like, is it a demonic car? Is it like possessed by a certain demon or a person? Nope, it's just a demon car. Just is. Just have to go with
car.
Just an evil fucking car. So it's one of those movies where the guy that adopts it, gets changes and becomes more confident. He starts off like this nerdy, very nerdy, quiet kid, and eventually changes into this like super charismatic and confident dude and gets all the ladies. But then obviously that becomes perverted and it becomes mean and nasty and all that kind of stuff. So it's interesting. I think it has really good practical effects that you come to expect from a John Carpenter movie. Some pretty cool kills. You could do a lot worse in terms of a Stephen King adaptation from the 80s, like Maximum Overdrive, speaking of another movie about vehicles coming to life.
Yeah, no, I'm not a huge King guy.
Yeah.
But, this is definitely an iconic one that is, I guess, well respected amongst horror fans.
Yeah, it's sitting at a 3.5 on Letterboxd. So yeah, of all the King adaptations, I think this is one of the better ones, and yeah, pretty good John Carpenter movie as well. It doesn't really feel like a Carpenter movie in terms of like, not a lot of guns or like a lot of swearing. It's not like it's not like a They Live or Escape from New York. Not a lot of memorable lines or characters or anything like that. It's not like Mouth of Madness or The Thing. Not a lot of goopy stuff, as you were saying. But yeah, you could do a lot worse in terms of 80s John Carpenter, 80s Stephen King. Like I said.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, that one's streaming on Netflix right now. Let's go back to you. You saw the movie we talked about last week, Iron Lung, directed by Mark Fishback, written by Mark Fishback. Many other things probably also edited by him, yes. Better known as Markiplier. What did you think of Iron Lung?
Yes, and you left out starring him.
Starring him as well.
There's a couple other people, but it's mostly just him.
Nice.
This one, I kind of was flippantly like, the Markiplier movie, whatever, not really knowing anything about it.
Yeah.
But then I kind of found out like, oh, it's based on, I had heard of the video game Iron Lung. I know it's this very existential horror game where it's just like, you're in a submarine, you're in an ocean of blood, and you're exploring, and there's Eldritch there. Have fun. And the way this movie came about was that apparently Markiplier was just streaming it one day. And he was very tired, like I am right now, and was just like, I'm going to get fun with it. I'm going to get loopy, and just started like, role playing, like he's like in the submarine. He's like, oh, yes, sir, and had a lot, and started, was very popular, had a really good time with it. Eventually, he just kind of reached out to the creator of the game, because it was an indie game. It was like, would you ever think about making this into a movie? Independently financed it, made it for a couple $1 million, set the record for the most fake blood ever made in a movie. So I mean, just the story behind it, I'm like, this is something I'm very interested in. This is like a real passion project here, and with him having his huge fan base, it got people calling in theaters. It got released on 3,000 screens, and this thing is pretty great. It's it's metal. It's very Eldritch. It feels to me like it's doing what Event Horizon was trying to do and not doing a very good job of, where it's like trying to be like this ridiculous, insane, like Eldritch horror world. I think he's he's a decent actor. He's a really good director, though. The movie is a little bit long, but I had a lot of fun with it. It was really great to see. Like, I went to see this with like a packed house of just Markiplier fans, and I don't really know him that well. I've seen him, his reactions on TikToks mostly.
Yeah.
But yeah, people are into it, and I love a good passion project like this. It feels, it's interesting because it came out against the Sam Raimi movie, and it feels like it owes so much to those old Raimi movies. So if you like some old school horror, just where there's like weird tension building and stuff like that, and it's just all more about what you don't see than what you do, then I cannot recommend this one more.
Yeah, this is definitely one of those movies that I would make good use of my Regal Limited, like this one and Send Help. I really wanted to get out to see both of those to use that to great effect. So yeah, like I also have not been familiar with this game or Markiplier's stuff, but it definitely does bode well. If there were 2 or 3 more guys like this out there that had that reach and the resources to do something like this, I could definitely really would like to see more of that happen. I don't have the list pulled up right now, but there are multiple guys that have made horror movies in the last couple of years that either started as YouTubers or critics. Like, what was the guy, Chris Sanderson, that did that movie? Chris Tuckman, thank you. Yeah, he did that movie that I'm blanking on right now a couple months ago. But yeah, it's an interesting world that we're living in right now, where you have guys like that get a following, either reacting gameplay or critics doing critic stuff, or even just the YouTubers in general, just making a fuck ton of money. I think that well is drying up a little bit. I think if you get started now, I think you're gonna have a harder time getting to that level that a lot of guys that started 5-10 years ago got to. But I think there's still an audience out there for people like this who are really passionate about the art of filmmaking and about the craft of filmmaking and about they'll love them making something just for fans of a thing. So yeah, it's a really good sign that a guy like that, even though like we talked about this last time, where Markiplier's been around for a very long time. So it's not just like you can just start now and make a film in 2 or 3 years. You have to really bust your ass for a long time to establish that fan base to get that income revenue going. But yeah, it's a good thing that it's out there.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, like you mentioned, Chris Stuckman. There's also the Philippou brothers, who are
Yeah.
the few horror movies. So yeah, like it's cool to see these YouTubers becoming independent filmmakers.
Yeah, and the Daniels, Everything Ever at Once, they started out with YouTube Shorts. So yeah, a lot of places, a lot of people coming out of the YouTube space. All right, you got that. Let's go back to me. This week, I finally caught up with a beloved rom-com that my coworker has been badgering me to watch for a long time. So I finally sat down and watched Notting Hill from 1999, directed by Roger Mitchell. I am not a rom-com guy, and I think if one of the most beloved rom-coms of all time doesn't do it for me, I really don't think these are going to win me over. They might. I feel like I've seen one before that I enjoyed, but this one particularly did not do it for me. Derick, is there a genre, and if rom-coms are that genre, is like one genre where you just trying to watch them over and over again, you just can't find one that works for you?
No, I'm much more open-minded than you.
Okay. Good. Yeah,
no, I mean, honestly, though, I like rom-coms. I don't think there's a genre that doesn't work for me, because, like, I mean, I used to say, like, slasher / horror, because I'm not the biggest. I like horror, but I'm not the biggest slasher guy. But even that can be done well, and that's like a subgenre more than a whole genre. So yeah, I mean, I don't know that there's a whole genre that doesn't work for me. There's some that don't work as well as others, but I think anything can be done well.
Yeah, I think Julia Roberts is a fantastic actress. I like a lot of the stuff she's been in. Like I said last time, I watched Aaron Brockovich, which was she was incredible in. She's really good in the Ocean's movies. Should look through her filmography, and I guess I haven't seen a lot of the stuff she's been in. Still haven't seen, like I said, the rom-coms. So I haven't seen Pretty Woman or My Best Friend's Wedding. Eat, Pray, Love's not really up my alley. Runaway Bride, again, rom-com. Charlie Wilson's War, she was very good in. Confessions of a Dangerous Mind, I saw. Conspiracy Theory, but yeah, I'm just looking through her list, and just a lot of rom-coms and a lot of stuff, a lot of classic stuff I haven't seen. But yeah, I guess yeah, it just didn't work for me, just because I felt like her character was very flat, very bland, and it's just one of those things where I feel like it's not the movie's fault at all, but the thing I bring to it is just like, yeah, that would just never happen. And, and the guy, Hugh Grant's a very charming guy, but it's just like a famous actress is going to walk into a bookstore and just start making out with this guy the second they meet. And sure, it's just fantastical. It just feels like wish fulfillment. It just feels like just a thing that's very, I don't know, it's just... romance thing is just romance movies are just not my thing, I guess. It's fine. Have you seen Notting Hill, or do you have a favorite rom-com that I should check out?
I haven't seen it, so I can't speak on this one specifically.
Yeah,
I'm not the biggest Julia Roberts guy, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I there was a lot of I like those, like, better than average rom-coms, the ones that are 3.5 or 4 stars, because I know that there's a lot of them that I would classify as 5 stars, but there's a lot of them that I think are comfort movies, and I went through and just watched a ton of those during COVID. I think one of the ultimate, like, hey, this is a better movie than it has a right to be rom-com is Crazy Stupid Love.
Oh, yeah.
That's such a good movie. And then, or like Definitely Maybe is another one that's like, yeah, this is just like pretty formulaic, but it really works out. So I think there's a lot, and there's obviously probably some more masterpieces, classic ones, but those are just the ones that are my comfort. Just kind of like, hey, these are not going to change the world, but they're a good watch.
Yeah. All right, so I got that. Let me do one more. Side Effects I checked out. Again, I'm on mission to see filmmakers' filmography, try to fill out as much as I can. Soderbergh is one of those guys. I've been going through his list recently. So this week I checked out Side Effects from 2013, starring Rooney Mara, Jude Law, Catherine Zeta-Jones, Channing Tatum, and Dowd, and a huge cast of people in this, a who's who of people. It's really good. Spoiler alert, or Soderbergh is a fantastic director. Like Soderbergh's worst movie is like way better than the just an average movie you're going to go out to see, just in general. He is one of those guys that just can take a really just take a fucking script and just elevate it. And he's doing a very interesting, like, Hitchcocking thing, very interesting thriller here. But also has that through line that I think a lot of his movies have, and I'll talk about one in a second, where it's about, Channing Tatum was playing, an ex-con trying to get his life back together. And I think that's the thing that he's interested in a lot of his movies, is about, working class people just having their lives ruined by, either a corporation or the government itself, or just bad luck, or so this is a really, really cool, 106-minute thriller that I think probably got overlooked quite a bit when it came out. So I highly recommend checking this out. This one is streaming on Netflix and Canopy right now.
Okay, all right. I mean, this has been on my list for a long time. I love Steven Soderbergh. It's been on my list. It's crazy that this came out in 2013, because I've been like, I need to watch this ever since it came out, and it's been like 12 years, 13 years now. Yeah,
it's very, very good. So there was that. Back to you. You checked out a movie I really want to see, because I really like this director very much, and I like this lead actor. You checked out Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die. What did you think of this?
This one was definitely a mixed bag for me. Gore Verbinski, like we said last time, he's made one of my favorite movies of all time in Pirates of the Caribbean, but he's also made some not great movies. So he's always kind of hit or miss. And this is a movie that, first of all, it feels definitely too long. It's a very old man complaining about technology, but it also, I think, has a lot of heart. It is about, about these characters. It's very weird and quirky, and it's very almost like, we talked about the Daniels. It feels like Everything Everywhere All at Once, or something that they would direct. You mentioned Sam Rockwell. He is phenomenal in it. And it does that thing that I kind of love in time travel movies, where they're like, well, we need to make a time travel movie. How do we make it for a relatively modest budget? Well, the time traveler is coming to the far off year of 2026, or 1985, when they're making Star Trek 4, or I'm talking about Time After Time, pretty soon on Underrated, and that's about H.G. Wells traveling to the far off year of 1979. Happened to be the when the movie was made. There's some good stuff in this that is about just how corrosive and corruptive AI is, and about making human connections, and how that's becoming more rare and difficult today. It's funny because this movie starts in a diner, and he's like, he's like, all right, Sam Rockwell's doing his thing, and he's so good in this, and he's got his unhinged thing where he's like, I'm gonna make a team, and I'm gonna need to pick people from this diner, and you're like, is he gonna pick Zazie Beetz sitting right there? I bet he will. He's sitting next to Michael Pena. There's Juno Temple over there. I bet they're going to get picked, and not these extras. But a couple extras come along with him. I'm not going to spoil anything, but I think you can tell who's going to make it longer and who's going to make it very far in this movie. But yeah, I think it's worth the watch. Like I said, it is a little bit like, get off your phones, you whippersnappers. But at the same time, it is also like, AI is bad and it's destroying the world. And I'm like, I agree with that.
Yeah. All right. Freaking Sam Rockwell, probably, top 10 favorite actors working today. It's great to see him in a lead role too, I will say, because he's usually the kind of like, I'm going to dance onto the screen. It's good to see him in the main role for once, Yeah, lead actor, lead role. He's had, in Moon. I think he was the lead in that.
Yeah.
You can make the argument he was one of the leads in 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. Let's see, what else was he kind of the lead in? Yeah, I mean,
He
he
was the lead
just
in the Bad Guys animated movie. They just got a sequel
true,
this year.
true. Confessions of Dangerous Mind. He was the main guy in that. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
but
no,
a lot
he
of these are
works.
like smaller
Yeah,
movies. See how they
yeah,
run, and I guess
yeah.
this one is too. But it's I like this. I like to see Sam Rockwell really get into tear into a pretty meaty role. Because this is a good role.
It is. It is. Yeah, fantastic role in Green Mile. Obviously, I just saw that a couple of years ago for the first time. Just he plays that really nasty, mean guy really well. It's the same as Three Billboards Outside of Missouri. Don't remember his role in Assassination of Jesse James by the Carter Upper Ford. I guess the scene in Galaxy Quest where he screams after they get teleported was improvised. That's why you see what's her name jump when he screams. Sigourney Weaver jumps as he's screaming. So that was funny if you go back and watch that. Yeah, just one of the most underrated actors working today. Really amazing guy. All right, so that was that. Yeah, back to me for a few things. Checked out again some more horror stuff. The Burning from 1981. This takes place came out a year after Friday the 13th. So yeah, really super early. Yeah, super early slasher. Really, I think probably made around the same time, so they probably weren't trying to rip it off, but it was basically similar quality, I would say. You can't really judge a lot of these things too harshly against each other. But yeah, speaking of Tom Savini, does the practical effects here. Spoiler for this movie, kind of. You have a very young Jason Alexander with hair in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember I wrote a thing about underrated slasher movies, and I was like, "That's like his first role ever."
one of his first roles, one of Fisher Stevens' first roles. Yeah, this is just an old school, slasher with some nice boobies in there.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that's really that's actually really intense, but also like, oh my god, really well shot. Scenes where the campers, the canoes go missing and they have to build this raft, and they come up, they paddle the raft up to one of the missing canoes, and it takes a really long time for them to get to the canoe, and this is building the tension and the dread in that scene. So I thought there was some really really well crafted and edited shots in this. Do you know why this movie is kind of like, oh, that kind of sucks that who wrote it and distributed it and produced it?
It's the Weinsteins.
It's the Weinsteins. Yep. Bob and Harvey. Yep. So that sucks.
Yeah, no, I did find that out when I was researching this movie. Not great.
Yeah, not great. So yeah, you can check that out on Canopy right now. And yeah, going back to Mr. Soderbergh. And speaking of Zazie Beetz, checked out High Flying Bird. People probably know this movie as the Soderbergh movie shot on an iPhone. And going into it and knowing that, you're like, that's kind of feels like a iPhone move, and it kind of looks like the I don't know what the actual term it is. Like the white balance is kind of off, where the background's very blown out, and you can kind of tell that it was shot with an iPhone because of that stuff. But yeah, again, a movie about corporate interests, and it's because so the synopsis is: when an NBA lockout sidelines its big rookie client, an agent hatches a bold plan to save their careers and disrupt the league's power structure. So again, it's a lot of the stuff that Soderbergh's been interested in his entire career of big business, big corporate interest, squashing the little guy. You definitely see that in stuff like obviously Aaron Brockovich, but also No Sudden Move had a subplot in there about that. The Ocean's movies are about guys trying to steal money from giant casinos. If you just go back through Soderbergh's entire career, that is the underlying theme of the poor and the working class just trying to scrape by and just trying to get a little bit for themselves. So this is very much about that as well. As far as Andre Hollins, Zazie Beetz, Melvin Gregg, Zachary Quinto. So yeah, it's also got Kelly MacLachlan in it. Bill Duke is in this. So yeah, a lot of cool little character actors that's spread up here. So yeah, I recommend checking out High Flying Bird.
Yeah, I mean it's I would say of all the Steven Soderbergh movies I've seen, it's one of the lower ones, but it's still Steven Soderbergh. Like you say, he's even a bad Soderbergh movie is better than most other people's movies. I will say also that if you are like a cuckold, but specifically for watching basketball, this movie's perfect for you because this movie's all about basketball and it has no basketball in it.
That is true. Yeah, I wonder. I didn't do too much research into this, but I wonder if that the main guy was actually a player or not. Because you actually
He's not. He's made
not.
up. He's played by a real actor, a real basketball player, I believe.
Okay.
But there's I think a lot of like real basketball players in this.
That's bizarre. I wonder why he would.
And fucking Skip Bayless, I forgot he was in it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot of like actual like all the like like Shannon Sharp and all those guys like they have real commentators in it. But yeah.
Yeah, interesting little movie. And I saved my best for last. Splitsville. Oh. Yeah, Splitsville from last year was a little hidden gem. I kept hearing bandied about by a lot of critics that put this on their top 10 list from last year, and I finally got around to seeing this. Dude, this thing is fucking hilarious. Speaking of movies that don't really get made anymore, the studio comedy. Studio comedy has been long thought to be dead, but a movie like this proves that it's really not. This movie stars Dakota Johnson, Ariana Aroha, Kyla Marvin, and Michael Angelo Covino. Those last two names, I had not heard of them at all, and for good reason, because it's like one of the first things they've ever done. But they were really good in it. They play, there's two couples, Ariana Aroha and Dakota Johnson's and their husbands. So one couple is telling the other that they're polyamorous. And so the husband from the other couple sleeps with the guy's wife, and he gets pissed because apparently they weren't really polyamorous. They were just thinking about it. So they have this, one of the best like fight scenes I've seen in a long time. Like, just because it's so well choreographed by guys that just don't look like they should be fighting that well. They're just like normal, big, tall, lanky white dudes. And you're like, what are they going to do to each other? And it is one of the best fight scenes I've seen in a very, very long time. Dude, you have to check this shit out. This movie is so fucking funny. Like, sight gags, physical gags, really clever jokes. One of the best movies I've seen in a while. Yeah.
All right, I'll have to give this one a watch then.
Yeah, it is streaming right now on the Hulu. All right, so that is everything we've watched this week. Moving on to our Letterboxd assignments from last time. I was assigned The Battle of Algiers, and I did watch this film. It was directed by Gillo Pontecorvo. This is from... Did I say what year it was from? From 1966. Is Italian-Algerian war film. It's based on action undertaken by rebels during the Algerian War from 1954 to 62 against the French government in North Africa, most prominent being the eponymous Battle of Algiers, the capital of Algeria. And it was shot on location in a sort of newsreel style. So, yeah, it's obviously the movie that was featured prominently in One Battle After Another from last year. So one of the reasons why I wanted to check it out. And I mean, it's... you can say, like, different cultures and different countries and different nations and different, all that stuff is definitely warranted to take into consideration. But at the end of the day, for me, it's really just about the oppressor and the oppressed. You have the French military coming into Algeria and saying, because we've been here, you have to listen to us. And because we have the guns, you have to listen to us. And so it's just about the resistance fighters pushing back against them using guerrilla tactics. It's also, a movie that's has morality in it, just saying, okay, these guys, the freedom fighters did this, guerrilla fighters did this, they did some really horrible things, and you can't make excuses for them, but the army, the military just doesn't give them any alternative. They are so oppressive and so, just asking for papers and having this these blockades where people can't move freely, and it's just at a certain point you have to say, There's no voting our way out of this. There's no, putting on protests in the streets that you can sanctify. You can't go to the government and be like, hey, can you please let us protest? At a certain point, you have to be in the streets and just do it anyways. So yeah, it's a harrowing movie. It's a tough watch, but yeah, I would highly recommend checking it out. Battle of Algiers, and this is the one movie I didn't write down where it's streaming. I believe it's on Canopy, Criterion Collection, I believe as well. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, there it is. There's I believe it's on Canopy.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, this one I know I haven't seen, but I know a lot about it. And I know that it's not a documentary, but it's shot very much like a documentary to the point where it even used a lot of the real freedom fighters from the actual Battle of Algiers, just like kind of like doing the things they actually did. And what do you think about that whole aspect of it?
Yeah, well, it's not just the freedom fighters; it's the general from the French army is also that guy. So. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about it. I feel like it's got to be weird for him to go from, fighting in France, fighting for the resistance in France, pushing out, the fascist Nazi Germany, and then turning around and having the same government say to him, okay, you got to basically do what the Nazis were doing to us, to them. And it's just got to be such a mindfuck to be asked to do that. I think that guy plays his role very well, not just the role of being the colonel, but playing the role in the movie. He plays it very well. And yeah, you meet him, and when he first rolls into town, he has the meeting with all of his subordinates and saying, so here are the players, here's what's going on, here's what we're going to do. We're just going to go door to door and figure out who's who, and eventually we'll take people in and we'll torture them. That's a big segment of it, of torture, and how the French military used it, but also the resistance fighters use torture as well. So it's that very interesting comparison of what's too far, what's a tactic that's too much if you're the oppressed or the oppressor, if you're the oppressee or the oppressor. What line are you willing to cross to keep your freedom, or what line are you willing to cross to crush their resistance? So yeah, no, I think it was used. I think the actor, to answer your question, I think the actual participants in the war were used very well.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, this is one that's been on my list. I did a whole thing about world cinema for Watch Mojo a little while ago, and this was on my African top 5 list after doing some research, and I need to watch it. I was very intrigued by it.
Yeah, it's really well made. So yeah, your assignment last time was The Believer from 2001, directed by Henry Bean, starring Ryan Gosling and Billy Zane. What do you think of this?
I actually did not get a chance to watch this one. I know. I just, didn't have the time to see a Jewish Nazi movie.
Fair enough.
Watching too many Olympics.
Yeah.
I'll keep it on my list for next. I can still do the shuffle, but I'll try to watch it for next time.
All right. So yeah, I'll go to my watch list and I'll hit shuffle, and we'll see what we get. All right. Early 90s Cameron Crowe singles. Yeah. Let's listening to the screen drafts where they were talking about Ethan Hawke and Richard Linklater collaborations. This would fit right in there. This feels like a Linklater movie. It feels like a movie Linklater probably could have made if Cameron Crowe didn't make it first, because obviously Linklater is a Gen X guy, and so is Ethan Hawke. So I could definitely see him fitting in a movie like this. So yeah, one of those.
Wow.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes. All right, so that'll be my assignment for next time. Derick, go to your watch list, hit shuffle, let me know what you get.
All right, and I've got, Scream 3. I've seen the first 2 Screams and nothing else. The 7th, 8th one, whatever is about to come out this year.
Right.
So I guess we'll see how 3 is, because I think people don't like this movie. It has a 2.9 on Letterboxd, so and that's even with all the nostalgia. So let's see how it goes. No Timothy Olyphant in this one. Rip to Mickey.
Right.
Spoiler for Scream 2. He doesn't make it out of that one.
This is one of the movies where I look back on it, I'm like, Jesus, that was in 2000. So how early were the first ones? I always forget. The Scream started in 96. And the second one
like I
was a
think
couple years later.
97, 98, they came out like back to back pretty much. And then
Yeah,
because the thing is like they were like this is the end of the Scream trilogy, and it was
right.
just like this is going to be a trilogy, and then they like were like just kidding, we're going to make a Scream 4, and then they
Yeah,
didn't make anything for a while. And then like just kidding, we're going to make 8 more.
yeah, yeah. Wes Craven directed this one and the fourth one. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so that's your assignment for next time, Scream 3. All right, there is not a lot coming out. I was doing my best to find stuff to be excited for. And again, speaking of not being in a great mood to go out to the theater, this doesn't help. I can only imagine, too, speaking of things I watch on TikTok a lot, this ad keeps popping up on TikTok. And it probably keeps popping up because I keep watching it.
Yeah, I don't even know what this is.
I cannot. It's a Christian movie. It's basically what it is. Yeah. I just keep watching because it's like a car crash. I can't look away. It's so fucking shitty looking, and it's got Milo Ventimiglia, that guy from Heroes.
Oh yeah, he's Rocky's son.
Yeah,
he's Jess from Gilmore Girls.
Oh, speaking of bringing it back to Gilmore Girls. Yeah, so this is out. I'll just say that's a thing you can watch if you want to. We also have How to Make a Killing with Glenn Powell, Margot Qualley, and Jessica Henwick. So, yeah, it seems like a interesting thriller thing. Oh, it's loosely inspired by the 1949 British film Kind Hearts and Cornets. So, synopsis is disowned at birth by an obscenely wealthy family, blue-collar Beckett Renfellow. Beckett Renfellow will stop at nothing.
That's me, Beckett Renfellow. I'm a wealthy Britishman.
He will stop at nothing to reclaim his inheritance, no matter how many relatives stand in his way. So, another eat the rich, kill the rich type movie. All right. Mm-hmm. We got that. So we got Psycho Killer, speaking of horror movies this year. Directed by Gavin Poloni, starring Georgina Campbell and Malcolm McDowell. No synopsis here. Yeah, interesting looking thing. All right. The story follows a police officer on her mission to take down a serial killer known as the Satanic Slasher after he murdered her state trooper husband. All right, not sure what side I'm on there, but okay. Just kidding. Love the police. Speaking of Scream, the following week on February 27th, Scream 7, directed by Kevin Williamson, the famous writer of all the Scream movies, finally getting in the director's seat there. So we'll see how that works out.
Maybe I can catch up since I got Scream. I can watch Scream 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Yes.
We'll see. Stay tuned.
Jesus, massive cast. I will not spoil who's in this because there's many names of people. If people are familiar with the series, people have died. Spoiler alert for the Scream series, but people died, and those people that had died are listed in this cast list. Maybe they're callbacks. Maybe there's what's the word?
They're only mostly dead.
Mostly dead. Yeah. Maybe there's flashbacks of them. Who knows? Who could say?
What has Skeet Ulrich been doing all these years as a zombie?
Right. Skeet Ulrich, David Arquette, Matthew Lillard.
I like how you said, like, I make a joke and I was like, I'm not going to spoil anything. You're like, I'm not going to spoil anything. And then you just immediately do anyway.
Well, we don't know. I'm not saying that they're in the movie. But Skeet Ulrich could be in the movie. He's not on the list, but he could be in the movie. Oh. Yes. Anyways. All right. I need to vamp because I forgot to post the thing here. Plug time. My little cheat sheet. Plug into podcast. Medium.sherman.medium.com. Go there for all my writing about movies and stuff. Go to my Letterboxd. I just hit 2,400 followers, so I'm 100 away from 2,500. I'm probably closer right now. Go to Film Essayist on YouTube. Actually, it's renamed the Midnight Film Society. So that's the new channel there, new channel name on YouTube. So if you search Midnight Film Society, that'll get you there for the podcast and all the video essays I've done. Spotify for podcasters, iFanboy, Letterboxd, Blank Check, Discord. I think today or yesterday was the last day to get your votes in on for the Blankies. You're probably going to do the Blankies pretty soon. So
I
vote
love
in
how you
that.
sent me that link with no context whatsoever
I'm
to a
sorry.
Discord that I'm already in.
That you're already in, exactly. Did you vote? Did you vote in the blankies?
I did not. I did not.
Okay. Fake fan
I
over
might have
here.
earlier actually. I
Yeah.
can't remember. I might have like when it first started.
Yeah. Midnight Film Pod on TikTok. I'm making some TikToks of my of all the stuff I'm watching. Those actually get really good. If you want like a cheat sheet for like a 500, 600 view video, just put a bunch of Letterboxd reviews or Letterboxd movies you're watching and just post them on TikTok. It's
Okay.
pretty good traction on
Yeah,
there.
I get those many views in my sleep.
Okay, buddy. All right.
Talk to me
Yeah.
when that's favorites
Right.
and maybe
Yes. Okay.
when you get 900 favorites,
900
I'll get out of bed.
favorites. Right.
Yeah.
Derek, what you got to plug?
My plug, as always, is the Underrated Movie Podcast. See, I don't even need notes. I just do this shit off the dome.
Rip it off.
Yeah, and then, of course, I mentioned already that I'm going to be covering Time After Time. That is going to be 2 weeks. Though last week I covered for Valentine's Day, I covered Comet, and this week I'm going to be covering with the great Bill Bodkin from popbreak.com, covering Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves. Of course, I've also got the Patreon, Infinity Stones and Dragon Bones, all kinds of other stuff that can be found at underratedmoviepodcast.com.
Very, very nice. All right. For Midnight Film Society, I've been Damian.
I've been Derick.
And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.